Bianca Gonzales-Intal slammed the president and even called him insensitive. Why? Read this. The TV host Bianca Gonzales-Intal has once again slammed the president, criticizing him for his controversial statement recently. The statement that she's talking about was the one that President said when he went to a gather of a religious group that was held in Davao City on August 31. Mabuti hindi ako nasali dun din gayong naging baklan ako. The TV host was known for being vocal on her opinions regarding the happenings in this country. Not the most sensitive statement to both priesthood and the LGBT community. She tweeted. Recalling the president's statement, he earlier admitted that he was once harassed by a Jesuit priest during his high school years. This wasn't the first time that he slammed the Catholic Church. Invites you to view streaming video, "I will resign as president." Michael Sullivan, a foreign journalist who asked questions to the president Duterte about the growing numbers of killings of the criminals in the Philippines, was dared by the president to walk himself in Davao. The president said that he will be resigning from his position if the foreign journalist will be robbed in Davao City as he is walking. In a press conference that was held in Davao City, Duterte said, "I challenge you, you walk here in Davao, and if you are mugged there or robbed there, I will resign. I will tell you publicly." Not only if he gets robbed but also if ever he loses a penny or his wallet. As long as this was proven to be true, he will immediately resign himself. President Duterte admitted that he is willing to put his life at risk for the sake of the next generation. "They can impeach me, they can kill me, I am 71 years old, I have to protect the next generation," he said. An explanation was made as well about the budget of the government. He said that the government does not have enough budget until next year because they are using whatever is left by the previous administration. Invites you to view streaming video. PH under state of lawless violence as declared by President Rodrigo Duterte. Read here. Due to the recent bombing which happened in Davao City, which killed 14 people and injured 67 others, the president announced that he might be declaring a state of lawless violence. According to him, this would include the alleged vigilante killings and would hence step out the campaign. "These are extraordinary times. We are trying to cope up with a crisis now. There seems to be an environment of lawlessness. I just might declare a state of lawless violence in this country," he stated after meeting with security officials. "It's not martial law, but I am inviting now the armed forces of the Philippines, the military and the police to run the country in accordance with my specifications," he said, saying that he will not be suspending the writ of habeas corpus. This is legal according to Article 7, Section 18 of the Constitution, stating, "The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces of the Philippines, and whenever it becomes necessary, he may call out such armed forces to prevent or suppress lawless violence, invasion or rebellion." Maginto Chaos RMGA checkpoints. If you see a sign and there are soldiers flashing their lights, switch off your headlights, switch on the light inside your cars because I'm authorizing them to search, Duterte said. "So if you do not have anything to hide, I am suggesting that you be liberal enough to understand us because we are trying to cope up with a crisis now," he said. Meanwhile, Duterte revealed that they have received warnings from the Abu Sayyaf and stated, "They gave us the warning. Not only in Jolo, but in other places. We were forewarned, we were ready," Duterte said, noting that his top law enforcement and intelligence people were in Davao City for that reason. "Unfortunately, we cannot frisk or order people to stop and search because that could be fascistic. Then that is not a democracy anymore. That is the price of being a democratic state. Any action at all taken by the security forces will be in furtherance to stop terrorism. And I am including drugs because there are so many killings unfairly attributed to the police." Invites you to view streaming video. SSS employee was called out after she mistreated a pregnant woman and a senior citizen. Read this. A post of a netizen on Facebook wherein she called out the attention of the SSS or Social Security System, is now circulating on various social media sites. Her post was about an employee of SSS who's being accused of mistreating a senior citizen and even a pregnant woman who were about to inquire in the said SSS branch. It was Linsel Maynases who wrote the lengthy post on social media wherein she narrated everything that happened. She said she went to the Gilpayat branch of SSS in Makati to process something for her husband who happens to be an OFW. She was kindly approached by the guard inside the branch and even directed her to the desk for HTPWDs, seniors and pregnant women. As she was waiting for her turn, she saw an old lady who was seen being irritated towards the employee. She was about to call the 8888 hotline when the manager came, approached her and talked to her. Without any problems, the manager was able to provide what she's looking for. Invites you to view streaming video. Metro Manila on full alert. Police in Metro Manila have been placed on full alert status following an explosion in a night market in Davao City on Friday which killed at least 14 people and wounded 74 others. National Capital Regional Police Office, NCRPO, Chief Supt. Oscar Albayal declared full alert status in Metro Manila effective 12:01 p.m. Saturday to step up the security in the region. Under the full alert status, all district directors were ordered to set up checkpoints in strategic places, and to increase police visibility in all vital installations, malls, churches, train stations and all places of convergence. We are stepping up security measures for everyone's safety. All community activities remain normal. We will not allow lawless elements to derail our path towards peace. It will still be a weekend for families, the NCRPO Public Information Office said. Members of the Special Reaction Unit, Tactical Motorcycle Riding Unit and Public Safety Battalion were deployed to strategic areas in the metropolis. Checkpoints in Opal City would also be conducted along all roads leading to airports and seaports. President Duterte declared a state of lawlessness early Saturday in the aftermath of the explosion but clarified that it was not a declaration of martial law. The Abisayaf owned up to the deadly attack, Interior Secretary Mike Sueno said. But the Abisayaf later blamed it on its allied group Daulat al-Islamiyah. In Manila, 6 police stations have been placed on full alert and were augmented with 200 additional personnel. These police stations in the country's capital, which has 11 stations, cover Malacanang Palace, the U.S. Embassy, universities, seaports, bus terminals, old churches and LRT stations. The city is also home to vital government structures like the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. The Southern Police District would also set up checkpoints at the metro's entry and exit points in Las Piñas, Parañaque and Muntinlupa. Albayal said what the police were doing was a proactive security measure to prevent what happened in Davao City. Albayal personally led the inspections at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminals 2 and 3, MRT Taft Station and bus terminals along EDSA in Pasay City, and the Market Mall in Taguig City. The checkpoints were set up as early as 2 a.m. on Saturday outside Naya by members of the Southern Police District, some armed with assault rifles. However, the checkpoints caused heavy traffic along Andrews Avenue and Airport Road. In one of the bus terminals, a security officer said the police told them to keep their eyes on suspicious individuals and baggage. He said the commuters welcomed the heightened security. The Quezon City Police District, QCPD, also placed the city under lockdown yesterday following the Davao City blast. Senior Supt. Guillermo Eliezer, the QCPD head, said they have already deployed police personnel to man strategic areas in the city's 110 entry and exit points to deter any possible attacks. Eliezer also dismissed that the bomb threat on Thursday at UP Diliman was related to the attack in Davao, saying it was a hoax. Eliezer yesterday led the inspection of various transport hubs in the city, such as the Araneta Center bus terminal and the LRT Roosevelt and Balintawak stations. Invites you to view streaming video. Can Melania Trump win her libel lawsuit? In February, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump told supporters the U.S. ought to open up the libel laws against publications who write purposely negative and horrible and false articles. This week, his wife set out to test those legal boundaries. Melania Trump filed a defamation lawsuit against a Maryland-based blogger and a popular British tabloid in Maryland State Court Thursday, accusing them of publishing what her lawyer described as false and tremendously damaging rumors about her, including a claim she was a sex worker in the 1990s. At the center of her complaint are a series of eyebrow-raising allegations about her past that were separately published last month by Webster Tarpley, a political blogger, and the Daily Mail, a major London-based tabloid. First, in an August 2 post, Tarpley quoted unnamed sources and unconfirmed reports that described Melania Trump as suffering from a nervous breakdown after she plagiarized a portion of a 2008 Michelle Obama speech during the Republican National Convention. Also fueling her rumored breakdown, Tarpley claimed, were possible revelations she worked as a luxury escort in the 1990s before meeting her husband. 2 weeks after Tarpley's post, the Daily Mail published an article on August 19 about what it described as troubling questions about the very racy past of Donald Trump's Slovenian wife. Those questions revolved around claims it attributed to Slovenian magazine and an unauthorized biographer, including allegations a modeling agency for which Melania Trump reportedly worked in the 1990s actually operated as an escort agency for high-profile clients. Several news organizations picked up on the rumors after the Mail's article was published, only to retreat from them after Melania Trump's lawyer, veteran Hollywood litigator Charles Harder, raised the specter of legal action. She understands that news media have certain leeway in a presidential campaign, but outright lying about her in this way exceeds all bounds of appropriate news reporting and human decency, Harder said in a statement. Through her lawyers and in the lawsuit itself, Melania Trump unequivocally denied both Tarpley's and the Daily Mail's claims. She did legitimate and legal modeling work for legitimate business entities, her lawsuit said. She was not an escort or prostitute. She did not have an apoplectic fit, apoplectic tantrum, nervous breakdown or mental breakdown, nor is she terrified or obsessed by fear about revelations from her past. Melania Trump's lawsuit describes both publishers' conduct as despicable, abhorrent, intentional, malicious, and oppressive. But the legal battle will hinge on a specific descriptor her lawsuit used to describe Tarpley and the Daily Mail's actions, actual malice, which basically means that the publishers knew, or should have known, that something they published was false. That unremarkable two-word phrase essentially shields American journalism from legal repercussions for publishing statements that could be considered libel in other countries. Drawing upon earlier uses by some state courts, the actual malice test entered the nation's constitutional consciousness when the U.S. Supreme Court first applied it in New York Times Company v. Sullivan in 1964. Sullivan is often described as a landmark case in First Amendment jurisprudence. But it is also a civil rights case of sorts. Albie Sullivan, a city commissioner in Montgomery, Alabama, filed the lawsuit against the New York Times and 4 local black clergy for publishing a political ad drafted by the clergyman. Titled "Heed Our Rising Voices," the ad condemned an unprecedented wave of terror against black civil rights protesters in the South. In its recitation of actual Southern discord, the ad falsely claimed Montgomery police had padlocked the local university's dining hall during a student protest to starve them into submission. It then also said the Southern violators had bombed Martin Luther King, Jr.'s home, almost killing his wife and child. Sullivan, who oversaw the Montgomery police at the time, and other locals read the ad as counting him among the Southern violators, thereby implying he had also attempted to kill King's family. He sued, claiming libel, and won $500,000 in damages from a local all-white jury. The Times appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court, which sided with the newspaper and clergy. Writing for the court, Justice William Brennan noted that factual errors were inevitable in free debate. He also placed the Sullivan case in the context of a profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. To that end, he wrote, the First and 14th Amendments demand the high threshold of actual malice for libel lawsuits by high-profile figures. Although Sullivan focused on elected officials, the justices later also applied the standard to cases brought by public figures like Melania Trump. When does publishing a false statement count as actual malice? The court has avoided handing down a precise, inflexible definition of it, but Brennan defined the standard at the time as knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. Notably, negligence or carelessness by publishers isn't enough to meet the standard. In Sullivan, for example, the Times advertising department did not bother to fact-check the ad's content against its own reporting because it was submitted in the name of A. Philip Randolph, a widely respected civil rights leader. In the short term, the ruling largely protected journalists and civil rights activists from vindictive libel lawsuits by segregationist officials as Jim Crow crumbled. New York Times Company v. Sullivan is one of those rare cases, perhaps especially rare in the field of First Amendment law, in which the heroes are heroes, the villains are villains, and everyone can be characterized as one or the other, just as Alan McKagan, then a University of Chicago law professor, wrote in 1993. In the 4 decades since it was handed down, Sullivan also protected American journalists from the risk that an errant mistake or inevitable falsehood, as Brennan put it, could lead to legal and financial ruin. Such ruin is still possible for major publications. In 2012, Gawker.com, a punchy, irreverent blog on politics, media, and gossip, published excerpts of a surreptitious sex tape of Hulk Hogan, who retaliated with a multi-million-dollar invasion of privacy lawsuit. A Florida jury sided with the retired pro wrestler in March, awarding him $140 million in damages and effectively bankrupting parent company Gawker Media. The company's collection of blogs was auctioned off to Univision for $135 million in August, and Gawker.com itself ceased publishing. 2 months after the verdict, Forbes revealed that Peter Thiel, a Silicon Valley billionaire and a supporter of Donald Trump's presidential campaign, had secretly bankrolled a legal campaign against the media company, including Hogan's lawsuit. Thiel's antagonism dated back to 2007 when a Gawker.com writer outed him as gay, but he also expressed loftier principles after his role was revealed. A story that violates privacy and serves no public interest should never be published, he wrote in August. Leading Hogan's legal team was Charles Harder, Melania Trump's lawyer. Thank you for watching videos like you. Remember, the channel, register and comment below. Thank you.